Hello and welcome to Strictly Salina at the Salina Media Connection. Today we're participating by Zoom. We have Robert Jenkins with us from out east of town. And Robert, I'm glad you could join us today. I understand there's lots happening out there at Rolling Hill Zoo that you are open and you are ready for visitors.
Yeah, we opened about a month ago, etc. And attendance has been very good, stable, very good. I think people were missing the zoo. We were closed for over 2 months due to the pandemic, but we're back open and the entire zoo is open now, along with the museum and other aspects like that. And we have our dinosaur exhibit up and ready for everybody to come and enjoy.
Oh, tell us about the dinosaur exhibit.
Well, the dinosaur exhibit is basically animatronic dinosaurs. They're really for that 5-year-old in every one of us that wishes we could see a live dinosaur.
Yeah.
So to speak. You don't see them anymore unless you look at chickens and birds, but basically it's to show you what they look like, how they may have sounded, and how they may have moved. And it's essentially one way of bringing the concept of not so much evolution, but basically losing animals to all kinds of problems around the world. I mean, we lost the dinosaurs due to a huge meteor and some other things that took place. And we have other extinctions that have gone on since then. And we're now in the midst of the 6th extinction for the Earth, which is largely driven by humans.
What about the sense of scale? There are life size, if you will?
I would say they're all life size. 4 of them are life size. You get a good idea of what they actually look like up close. The T-Rex, again, due to size, he's about 5'6", maybe a little bit larger than that, life size, but based on the fossil record, they've come in all different sizes, etc. And there's some speculation that there may have been at one time several different strains, so to speak, depending on where they were in the world.
What about the dates? The dinosaur exhibit's there now. How long will the dinosaur exhibit be there?
Well, it opened up on the 4th of July, and it'll be here till the middle of October, about the 12th.
About the 12th.
Mm-hmm.
Any other programs that you would like to highlight in addition to or complementary to the dinosaur exhibit than with the live animals, things that are happening?
Well, there's lots of things always happening with the live animals. All you have to do is ask the keepers that, what have you. Unfortunately, there are things that we've had to curtail, again, due to the pandemic. We don't have public feedings of animals because there's a certain amount of evidence that it is transmittable to other animals, particularly mammals. We have to be very, very careful about the apes and the monkeys, etc., the primates that we have here. But just about everything else is ongoing and operating at this time. And all the exhibits are up and ready for people to come and enjoy them.
So some of the things that wouldn't be happening right now, like feeding the giraffes, is that an example of something that wouldn't be happening right now with the human contact with the feedings?
Direct public contact with the giraffes, feeding of the giraffes, is not. However, our staff are conducting on a daily basis feedings that the people can see and watch, and then we get interpretations, etc., for the general public. We've tried to find ways of augmenting the things that we cannot do, again, because of the pandemic, but we can certainly make the visit here enjoyable.
So for somebody that wants to plan a visit, best time of the day, best day of the week, what you recommend to work in with the scheduling and all the safety that you're trying to have, what protocol, how we can help make this be an enjoyable visit?
Well, the salesman in me says anytime, any day is the best time.
Oh.
That kind of thing. No, actually, with the weather that we're experiencing, most people are coming early in the morning. We open at 9. They stay till about noon, 2 o'clock. And then attendance tends to taper off after that during the heat of the day. So that's a good time to come. Because we're out of doors, we are encouraging the wearing of masks so as to meet the city and county requirements for the area that we're in. But because we're out of doors, if you maintain a 6-foot social distance, you don't have to have a mask on, etc. However, you will see the staff wearing masks frequently.
Well, you're easy to find just out on Headville Road. Do you want to share, like, what are some landmarks? If somebody's coming off the interstate or coming out, the best way to come find you?
Well, if you're coming from the west on I-70, you look for exit 244, and you turn right and go a couple miles, and that's where we are. If you're coming from Salina, you head out on State Street and then follow the brown sign that cuts you over, et cetera, then down to Headville Road and turn right. Just all you have to do at that point is follow the signs.
I remember coming out affectionately, roll down the window when you're getting close and just listen, because the animals, some of the sounds that you hear are not what you would hear on interstate, not what you'd hear, cattle in the pasture. How about for you? You have some favorite sounds, like early in the morning when you come to work, what you listen for?
Well, I would hope some of the sounds that you heard weren't the staff, but anyway, essentially what happens is you'll hear the lions chuffing in the morning. Tigers will occasionally chuff. That's a sound like they go, on like that, that carries quite some distance. Chimpanzees will call, et cetera, et cetera. And then that's it for the most part. But those sounds, both those sounds will carry a fair distance.
Yeah. What about some of the programming that you have going on? Now that you're open, fully open, what are some other things that people can look forward to in the upcoming weeks?
Well, we just completed our summer camps. We were one of the few facilities in the area that actually had summer camps. Some of those were focused on dinosaurs, et cetera. And so we've been using that as a backdrop. We will be looking at public events as they go forward, but that's entirely dependent on how the county is doing with regards to dealing with the virus, et cetera. The programs basically that we're looking at are we picking up in the fall when it's a little bit cooler, a little bit nicer, and hopefully we're a little further away than where the county is right now.
Well, I'm thinking some day trips. This would be a great, for anybody that wanted to do a day trip or an overnight trip, come to Salina and then head on out to the zoo. There's it's free parking, right? You have
free parking,
your concession stand and light meals. So the opportunity to get something cool, something to eat while you're out there, you have all the amenities for someone to come out.
You can come and spend the entire day if you want. If you get out here, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock in the morning, you can enjoy the zoo, walk around, and then end your stay at the museum, which is air conditioned, et cetera.
Yes.
Make the end of the day a little more pleasant. And essentially, again, because we're an open air facility, we can stretch out. This is a rather unique zoo nowadays. It's many zoos look more like theme parks than they do what we do. We're a traditional zoo. We go back to the concept of the zoological garden, if you will, where basically you stroll around nicely planted areas, see animals in very naturalistic habitats, enjoy them, and focus on the family and the group that you're with.
Well, the physical health and the mental health, I'm glad you mentioned that. There's a lot of things when people are thinking about pandemic and being kind of shut in. You're offering this opportunity for people to explore, for people to, plan your visit, to come out and see. And you have all the social media offerings, and on your website, people could also look and see, what animals do I want to see while I'm there? Read a little bit about them. And would you share a little bit about your website if people wanted to research?
If you want to get to the website, just go to www.rollinghillzoo.org, and you'll get to the website. And the website is organized by the various things that you want to do. It's designed to look like your phone app, if you will. So it's friendlier than most websites are. So you can navigate through that very easily, figure out what you want to do, where you want to go, et cetera. But you want to leave time to see it all, because there's a lot to see and do here. Et cetera. On social media, just type in Rolling Hills Zoo in the Facebook page or Instagram or anything like that, and we'll pop up and you'll see that. Now on the Facebook, there are videos of things that we have done in the past, training videos, conditioning videos, things, keeper talks, et cetera, that are available for everyone to use. We did a lot of those while we were shut down, so as to maintain a presence with the general public.
You mentioned keeper talks. What's a keeper talk?
Keeper talk is essentially an animal keeper here goes down to one of the areas that they're responsible for. We'll use giraffes. They go down to the giraffes. They will probably have either enrichment items, food items, that kind of thing. And then they'll sit and they'll do a presentation about the giraffes. They'll talk about each of the giraffes, the things that they do, their background, where they come from, et cetera, natural history. And then they do Q&A with the general public. And we have keeper talks here every day, et cetera, so that people can come in and get a little bit more about what the animals are, what they do, and where they live.
And if people want to participate or observe the keeper talks, those are like at the top of the hour, or should they call ahead to say they would like to observe that?
Check the Facebook, check the website, and most of all, when you show up at the front gate, there should be a schedule there, which changes daily, a schedule there of when the keeper talks will be scheduled wise. So there's enough information out there that people should be able to get to where they want to go and see what they want to see.
Yeah, the time of day and the animals. And you mentioned enrichment items are a part of the keeper talks. What's that?
Oh, enrichment. Well, you and I would go out somewhere and we would engage in an activity, badminton, horseshoes, something like that, a game, if you will. That is an activity that enriches our lives. It's not part of our humdrum day-to-day routine. It's not like washing dishes, doing work, et cetera. It's something fun that we do. We do the same thing for the animals here, so as to prevent boredom and stereotypic behavior. They will get animals made out of cardboard that they have to tear apart if they're a carnivore to get a food item on the inside. Other ones who eat grubs and worms have to dig through something in order to find the grubs and worms. Food items are distributed throughout a facility, an enclosure that they have to go and hunt. One of our chimps, her name is Millie, is very fond of painting. So she actually paints pictures, et cetera. She has favorite colors and she has favorite brushes, and she decides when she wants to paint. She decides what color to use. She decides what brush to do. And when she's done, she throws the brush down and walks away. So, temperamental artist, I guess.
So Millie the artist.
Millie the artist, et cetera. One of the other things we do is for animals like bears, lions, tigers, leopards, we use perfume and spices scattered around and rubbed on areas inside the exhibit, and the animals enjoy going around sniffing those and what have you. And particularly with bears, it's the cheaper the perfume, the better, the more they react to it. So we buy it 5 gallons at a time.
I never see the things we learn. This is great. Who knew? I thought about when you said the enrichment. I don't know if you were talking about health and nutrition, so I'm glad you shared a little bit more.
Well, health and nutrition is part of it. I mean, we watch what the animals eat. They're all on a very strict diet, and we regulate how much they get, et cetera. They're probably in better shape than I am, et cetera, because we're watching them all the time, et cetera. And essentially just trying to keep them in the best of health, being as responsible as we can for them.
Oh, that's great. Well, again, I just wanted to review that for folks that we are with Bob Jenkins today on Salina Media Connection, joining us, and he's out at Rolling Hills Zoo. Now, Bob, you've been at the zoo for a while now. Any special projects that have come to fruition over the last couple of 3 years? You've done some fundraising, or there's been some donor development, that these things that you'd like to share, like thank you to the community, thank you to the donors, that maybe folks wouldn't know about?
Well, there's a couple of things. I mean, every year we have Zoo La La, which raises a large amount of money for a particular project. We've done things here that help expand, enhance the lives of the animals, the exhibits, and particularly for the visitors, et cetera. Fortunately, this year, with everything that was going on, we couldn't host it. So instead, we did a virtual Zoo La La, if you will, and we raised as much during that period of time as we would have through the Zoo La La. And all of that went towards keeping the zoo opening and functioning, the staff on site, et cetera, because even though we got shut down and were told to stay home, the staff here couldn't. They had to come in, take care of the animals, and do what needed to be done to make sure that they did not have problems. And so the key here is that we had a very successful fundraising, et cetera. We're looking at how we're going to move forward, because moving forward is going to be a challenge, if you will, because just the way the climate is right now, so to speak. And but we've had a lot of success raising funds in the past. We have a lot of support locally. I cannot overemphasize the spirit and the response that we got when we went to the public to ask for their help. They've kept the zoo open.
Well, congratulations on the successful Zoo Off. That's good to hear, the virtual events, things that you modify and you're nimble and staff and the donors and the folks that support that. That made me think about access to food or supplies for the animals, because as humans, there have been some shortages. Any shortages that you have overcome, or has there been trouble with that for supplies or food for the animals there at the zoo?
Well, we look far enough out to prevent shortages, et cetera. We really haven't seen any. We've seen price increases.
Oh,
You know, we have seen that, but we've not seen any significant shortages at this time. I would say the only thing that we're concerned about from time to time right now, because we buy far enough out ahead of time, would be fresh produce, et cetera, which is a very important staple for all the animals here.
Oh, that's good to know. That's reassuring for folks that think, it's like, how does that work? We don't know. The semi comes and the animals get fed. So I'm glad that that's working out in your world too. Anything else that you'd like to share today with what's going on out at Rolling Hill Zoo, Bob?
Well, just that there's always a lot more going on behind the scenes than is evident in any particular one visit, et cetera. Lots of training that goes on, a lot of working with staff in order to make sure that they're providing the very best in animal welfare and animal care day to day, and then also training staff to make sure that they provide the very best in visitor care, visitor welfare. Very, very important to us. And everybody that comes here is an important aspect of the zoo's operation. In truth, I wrote in our newsletter shortly after bringing the zoo back online earlier a couple months ago, basically, the zoo is not complete unless we have visitors. We have to have visitors, and we have to have happy visitors. And they're 1/3 of what makes the zoo work.
Yeah. Oh, well, I'm glad of that. And next time when we visit, I'll have you share a little bit more about some of your outreach, for example, your newsletter, and maybe some more about the things that you do online. That would be great. Well, thank you for joining us again, Bob, from out at Rolling Hill Zoo. And I'm Brenda Gutierrez with the Salina Area United Way, hosting Strictly Salina. Have a great day.
Very good. You too. Take care. Thank you.
Thank you.